Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new comedy, Greek Mothers Never Die. And this film focuses on the story of lonely and approaching 26 Ella yearns to escape her overbearing Greek mother and her unsuccessful life. However, when her mother unexpectedly dies, she begins to haunt Ella as Ella reconnects with her former flame, Nick, from when they were younger and try to go on this new life journey together. This is written, directed, and starring Rachel Suisa, who plays Despina, the mother here, and by far the most memorable, engaging, and interesting part of this movie is the mother. She is big personality. She is boisterous. She is controlling, opinionated, and aggressive. And there's something about her that kind of reminded me, because like I'm an Italian American. Obviously, this is dealing with Greek mothers. I don't think Greek mothers and Italian mothers are that far apart. And there's definitely some things that I could see from like my own mother in Despina, but Suisa does such a great job of bringing this big personality on screen and just grabbing the attention of the audience and taking them through. Because you have Abby Minor, who plays Ella, who is much more of a reserved kind of presence, and her mother is the one that really pushes. Suisa is the one that brings presence and energy to the film and drives it forward. I think the love story between Ella and Nick it's rock solid. You have Simon Rorole, who plays Nick, and I think they do a fine job of setting up the relationship. They're charming enough. But at the end of the day, this film really is a mother-daughter tale. And that's where the real heart and crux of this story is. And as the film moves on, and, you know, generally it's fun, it's over the top, it's silly. They're having a good time with this film. You have some other characters throughout the film that are a lot of fun and add, you know, some spice and personality along the way and fill out the cast. But this film in general is pretty light. I think its biggest drawbacks are some of the characters feel a little extraneous, and how important they are to the film is not particularly strong. And I think it goes to a bigger issue. Like, this is a 2-hour film and doesn't feel like it really earned the 2 hours. There's probably been tightened up from a script standpoint. Maybe a few less characters, a few less subplots that fill out the film. But I do feel like this could have been tighter. And then tonally, I think Suisa has so much fun throughout this film with this big personality, this big character. But as the film gets towards the end and you start to realize what's really going on, this film gets heavy. And tonally, it feels like it's completely shifting, and it's too jarring and not as effective. And I think that's one of the bigger drawbacks of this film, is that it struggles a bit when it tries to get too real and too emotional. Which is a challenge when, like, this film is about losing your mother. Of course you're going to have that kind of grief and processing, but it just doesn't feel like it hits in a way that is truly satisfying to this story. And that balances all the humor and zaniness that led up to this point in the film. I do feel like this film struggles a bit too much with the bloated runtime, bloated story, and this tonal issue. I think there's enough here to enjoy. I think its flaws kind of balance out its really strong elements, and it's a fine film. But at the end of the day, I think it has a lot to say about mother and daughter relationships, and just, you know, trying to evolve and shift that relationship in a meaningful and mature way. But those are my thoughts on Greek Mothers Never Die. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.